Are the Source. WOCA. News, talk, sports, and more.
All right, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. It is really a beautiful day in Thursday. We've got three visitors who are not familiar with Ocala. They're in the studio, and let me introduce them properly now. It's kind of awkward earlier while we're trying to do the intro and get to know our three guests. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Freitas is in the phone. I apologize if I said your name wrong. And let me just say again, if I said these before, that wasn't on the video, so let me do it on the video. You have a distinguished U.S. Army career. That's putting a lot into one little sentence, isn't it? You were a commander of infantry and special forces, the commandant of the Airborne School, a community servant leader involved in or appointed to many national, state, and local governing boards. You served on governor and presidential policy transition teams. You said it was Governor Bush, right?
That's correct.
And you earned more than 15 medals and received more than 100 commendations. Good for you. And thank you for your services, by the way, all of you. Captain James McCormick, to your left, is the Vets for Energy Program Director. He served in Operation Desert Storm, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and is a three-time Purple Heart recipient, a three-time Bronze Star recipient, and a Silver Star recipient, among other numerous medals and commendations. Thank you for your service. You guys would fit in so well with the Vets show. And Patrick Gillespie, you're with the Vets for Energy Program, and it sounds like you're reluctant to even be part of this interview. But
well, I don't have quite the credentials as these two. So.
But you're here to support them, and you're here to part. Okay, so we're going to find out what the connection is between Vets for Energy and the event. So the event is the Vets for Energy and Military Order of the Purple Heart, honoring veterans along Florida's Purple Heart Trail today at 10 a.m. at Ocala Citizen Circle, right off of, I guess you call that behind City Hall, right?
Yes.
It's called behind
City Hall.
We used to call it behind. Now it seems like it's the front because everybody uses it for everything since they made that stage and everything. So
by the splash park.
By the splash park. It's probably going to be turned off. You won't get wet. Don't worry. But anyway, so thank you, gentlemen, for coming in here. So let's talk about the event first of all. What is the event? What will we learn if we show up at the event?
Well, you're going to learn. Number one, we'll start off with honoring the recipients of the Purple Heart. You know, when we started looking at what we can do to bring awareness to, number one, the organization, the Military Order of the Purple Heart, which was established to assist veterans that are recipients and their families of the Purple Heart. The Purple Heart obviously is only received for injuries and wounds as a direct result of enemy contact. And what they are doing is they are making sure that the voice of the wounded veterans of America are heard, and making sure that our families are taken care of. The Military Order of the Purple Heart is actually the oldest decoration of the military. That was George Washington actually came up with that long before us. And he awarded those awards for. So will there be veterans there receiving Purple Hearts, or are there people there from our community that will be honored? There will be people there that are recipients from your community of the Purple Heart.
Okay, so I'm guessing that the guys that are coming in here at 10 are going to be there. I don't know how they're going to do both. Or there'll probably be people representing their organization anyway. Right? Okay.
Sure.
So, and what is the connection between Vets for Energy? And I guess the first question really is, what is Vets for Energy? What is that?
Well, Vets for Energy is a national organization that is a group of volunteer veterans that work together, and we want to promote the message of energy independence and how it relates to national security. Now, when we started to tie in the Military Order of the Purple Heart, it actually started back last year in Las Vegas. We were at the National Convention for the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And when you start looking at some of these folks that have sacrificed so much, you really have to take a look at what we're doing in America, our policy. How can we make America more secure? How can we ensure that we're not sending people into harm's way unnecessarily, so that we're defending American interest and more so than we are energy interest? So we look at all of those things,
which has been one of the criticisms of numerous wars. We've heard even Vietnam War was associated in some editorials. I don't know if there's any truth to it. Does anybody know if this is true? That we were there for energy reasons?
Yeah, well, there was a big rubber plantation there as well. I mean, you've heard that. But, the point being is that America is poised at a position to where we can be totally energy independent. And that is, you have to use all forms of energy. So let's make that very clear. We don't advocate for one form of energy over another. We say that, regardless of what it is, let's make sure that we're getting it from America and not from people that could potentially be our enemies.
Right. Are we okay with Canada?
Yeah, we're okay with Canada, North America. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So to the event today, I want to make sure that the listeners show up at the events. So maybe we can hear from Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Freitas.
Yes.
Tell me what's your role in all of this?
Well, I'm also with Veterans for Energy because I believe in the message that we have to keep America energy independent, because if not, our enemies are going to make use of that.
And they're going to have us hostage.
And they already are.
That's right.
And before
I
speak about the Purple Heart, I just want to add something to what Captain McCormick has said, is, for example, the Russians. What are the Russians doing right now? And what are we doing about it? You go to the Arctic. They are trying to develop energy sources in the Arctic. And our present administration, to not name President Obama directly, but they're doing nothing about it.
That was kind of hard to...
Nothing.
I like your
Nothing
style.
about it, but that's the fact.
But here, absolutely.
And this is where it comes down to, who sells energy to Germany, to our allies? Is it not Russia? Why can't the United States be selling their, energy, oil, or whatever form of energy to our allies and get Russia out of the picture?
Right.
I'm a Cold War warrior, and I've been under fire, terrorist fire, during the Cold War, and I've seen people die. I mean, I've seen, a guy in front of me take a hit. 2 other people died in that encounter, and we don't want Russia. They're coming back, and we want to have the United States energy independence. Stop the Russians, stop the Chinese. So that's a very important message to take out there. It's not, and it's all forms of energy, but don't leave any form out.
We had as a guest on the phone an indigenous lady from up in Barrow, Alaska, which is as far north as I think you can go. And she was basically saying how their livelihood is being ruined by the Shell oil company because of the drilling out in the Arctic Ocean. And of course, I can't argue with that. I'm assuming she's telling me what's really going on. So then I said, well, how are we doing as Americans, and how are the other countries? Aren't there other countries drilling up there also? And of course there are. But if it's a bad thing to do, then it's a bad thing to do. Mm-hmm. And if it's not a bad thing, or if there's a way to do it without it being bad, then I'm all ears.
See, there's a lot of energy, engineering technology that's playing right now that really, and from the American side, the Russians are drilling. I don't know what engineering technology they got, but ours is more safer.
That's the thing that I feel. Here's what I feel about this, is that we have a segment of our population that is anti-drilling, okay? Mm-hmm. And we can't ignore them because they are making some good points. But at the same time, they can't ignore us either, because they're driving cars and they're trying to heat their homes. So we have to listen to each other. And guess what? We are. America is doing a really good job of cleaning up everything. China is not doing such a good job. China is the country that is putting most of the pollutants into the air on this planet right now.
You're absolutely right.
So that's why I think we have to drill for energy. We have to drill. But if there's a way to do it, then I think we owe that thanks to the people who didn't want us to do it at all, because we had to come to a compromise. That's just my thought on that.
And there's got to be reciprocation on both sides of that. And I'll say this, that if you look at airstream drifts and things like that, we can obviously prove, and I've been to the Middle East more times than I care to even remember. And
you were injured there, right?
Yeah, I was shot there 3 times.
My goodness.
And the fact that you go over there and you see, I've seen the drilling that took place in Ramallah oil fields and Basra. And I can assure you that the techniques and the things that they're using over there, have absolutely nothing to do with environmental safety. So, and in addition to
Yes,
that,
absolutely, yes.
you see a
Because they don't care. Because
don't care.
Because even if they have environmentalists in their community, they don't listen to them. They cut their heads off.
they cut their heads off or they shoot them. And the thing is that the other thing that we need to look at too is that it is so unstable in that area, that even if they were doing it environmentally safe, what are we seeing the money that is being made on profit from some of those oil sales? If you look at the whole black market system over there, and no one can deny this because we have seen satellite imagery that shows, truckloads and truckloads of oil that has been pumped for ISIS, and then before that it was for Al-Qaeda, taken across the border, loaded on another truck that's marked with some other country. I mean, how are you going to be able to tell?
Right.
And then it enters into the international market. So inadvertently, some of our allies are essentially supporting unknowingly,
Our enemies.
some of our enemies.
And the terrorists. And you have Iran
Yeah.
deal. Right now we're giving money to Iran, and they're upping their oil production. And so it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
And it's affecting our
And
national security. It's
our
affecting the
soldiers-
man on the battlefield.
Our soldiers pawns. Are they being used as pawns?
I wouldn't call any of us pawns. I would say that
Are they being used as pawns, though?
no. I would, and I have to deny saying that, because if I say yes to that, then that takes away from the 19 friends that I've lost in the last 14
No,
years.
it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I don't think so. I think we have to look at the truth. And your father was a World War II vet, correct?
Yeah, World War II in Korea.
We knew
and-
what we were fighting against.
Yes, that was the greatest generation of World War II.
Now we
They
don't
went out
know.
there, they fought for their country, they won, and that's why we have the future we have. And we have to fight so we can leave a good future to our children.
Yeah.
So we're fighting
And
against.
so we're no
a lot
pawns.
of
We're out there warriors
Well,
of
you took
good
it as an
fighting.
insult. I didn't mean it as an insult. I meant it as. I meant it in the same way that if you're doing what you think is best for your country, you're doing what your country asked you to do. There's no greater thing we can thank you
we
for.
can redirect that energy, though, and I'll say this real quickly. As a veteran, as the son of a veteran, and as a grandson of a veteran that's fought in war since the First World War, I have two sons that are in right now. And let me tell you what drives this thing home for me is when my son was deployed to the Middle East, and every time that I went to pump gas, I knew the reality and the potential that perhaps is 1/10 of 1 cent that I'm putting in my gas tank going to end up in some terrorist hands that could potentially buy the bullet that could kill my son.
Wow, that's hard to take. Yeah.
And for a year, all this gray hair and all this stuff, I didn't
don't have
have
that
all
much gray
that,
No, you look good.
You're fine. You're fine.
Very dashing.
But and thankfully he came home. I have another son that leaves this summer.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like we have a timetable here. Not just for me personally, but for all of the thousands of parents that have sent their children and their loved ones to war that have never come back. And when you look at the faces of these Gold Star mothers and these Gold Star fathers and families and their kids, and we have to do something better than what we're doing. And the way that I see this as Vets for Energy, and everybody can debate with a lot of things, with the way things are done or whatever, but the way that we see it, and I think that all of us see it this way, is that we're simply trying to get the message out. Let's buy and let's produce. Let's create careers in America. Let's do it on the home front. Two things you
Absolutely
should never
agree.
get from your enemy.
Agree with 100%.
And also,
Food and
we
fuel.
can lower the prices of oil as the energy production comes up,
Yeah.
which is good for the consumer. The main thing here is that we are not only talking about oil, we're talking don't elbow oil out from the other forms, because we believe solar,
Absolutely.
wind,
Absolutely.
it's a combination. And we have the
Well,
best
if-
engineers in the world,
if-
and we keep this technology safe. It's the safest it's been ever.
Thank you for saying that. If we and thank you
Yeah,
to the vets
absolutely.
for making it safe. Yes, if we are to believe the statement that fossil fuels, as they call them, oil, is finite, it can end eventually, And if those fossil fuels are used for pharmaceuticals, for plastics, for all kinds of things in addition to energy, and we can use something else to make energy, then think about how much of that oil resource we can use for the medicines. I don't even know how they make medicine out of oil, but that's what they say, right? Or plastics. I mean, look, everything is a plastic nowadays. It's amazing what they
The
can do.
economy is based on energy.
Yeah. So, you guys are going to be downtown in Ocala on the not on the square, but on the Circle Square Plaza behind City Hall. For those of you who don't know where that is, the address is 110 Southeast Wautulla Avenue, but you're going to be behind the facility. We'll take a little break and we'll be right back. If you want to call in, you're welcome to do that. The number is 622-9622. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For this Thursday, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in the morning and a couple of heavier showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and early tonight. The high today 83 to 87. Partly cloudy late Thursday night, lows 69 to 73. For Friday, clouds and some sunshine with a shower and heavy thunderstorm or two in the afternoon, high 86 to 90. Saturday, variable cloudiness with a shower and thunderstorm or two, highs in the 80s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 572-2510. That's 572-2510.
Wow, man, you have a computer?
Yes, and I'm looking at villages1.com. They have a ton of information for the Villages resident.
Wow, they have information by the ton? I only need a couple ounces, man.
Movies, schedule, doctors, local attractions, even a section called Who You Gonna Call for plumbers and painters and stuff like that. These guys own cyberspace.
Wow, man, they own it? What's cyberspace?
That's where they packaged 50,000 pages of information for the Village residents.
Wow, they package it where?
Villages1.com.
Where, man?
Villages1.com.
You can't put it off any longer. It's time to replace your home's AC system.
The answer is ACEsolvesItAll.com and an exceptionally efficient AC system. Let the pros at ACE show you how you can save on energy monthly and give your family added comfort. The great thing is that ACEsolvesItAll.com is on call 7 to 7, 7 days a week at no extra charge.
For a limited time, mention WOCA and get a special discount.
Call 877-765-4ACE or ACEsolvesItAll.com.
We could do this
All right, 8 minutes before 8 o'clock. In the studio, we're having a really good off-air conversation as well as on-air. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Freitas is in the studio, Captain James McCormick, Patrick Gillespie, and they are here because they will be downtown on the Ocala's Citizen Circle, 110 Southeast Wautulla Avenue. We're going to get websites and everything in a second. They will be there at 10 o'clock this morning, so in about 2 hours and 7 minutes. Go down there and be part of this where they're honoring the Purple Heart honor veterans along Florida's Purple Heart Trail, which I don't even know what that is exactly, so I'm going to have you explain that to me. But I wanted to clarify something. When I used the word pawn before, it seemed like everybody was offended a little bit, and I can understand it because it's, my dad was a World War II vet. My brother served in the Air Force for 20-something years. I have a nephew who served in Afghanistan, and he's got a beautiful family now. Definitely respect what you guys are, and thank you for what you've done. To put my pawn statement in other words, which I said off the air, was, are we sometimes sending our young men and women to war so somebody else can make money? And what was the answer to that? Are we sometimes doing this?
I think that we're sometimes doing it because of other countries' interests, and we need to redirect that energy so that we're not doing that as much as we have been. So, in essence, yes, it is true that we do spend our time, an innumerable amount of time, keeping and I won't say what I said before, but keeping the Persian Gulf open. Right. Because it's not just us that's affected by that, it's our allies as well. If we can effectively produce the energy resources for not only ourselves, and we have those resources here, by the way, if we combine everything together, we can supply ourselves and our allies, then you take away, that power. Right now, we have a very small part of the world that has a tremendous amount of control over everything that we do, and there's a lot of anxiety that's involved in that. So,
well, what I like about what you're saying is that you're making a real connection between what a lot of people think should be connected, which is our military and our energy needs. I mean, there's a real connection there.
But we have to be very careful. We are not an island. We live in a global community. And if we don't protect the energy sources of the world, guess who's going to get them? The terrorists.
Right. And guess who's not going to get them? Me in the morning when I have to get them to work.
So we got to be very careful because our soldiers are out there fighting for us and also doing good for humanity. And it's in our self-interest and the national security interest of the United States to ensure that we don't give platforms. Special Forces Operational Detachment A-Team Commander. It's not that A-Team you see on TV.
Right.
But the real A-Team.
Right.
That sacrifices, sheds blood.
Why is Ocala your first stop?
No, actually, it was Cape Coral was the first stop yesterday. Beautiful museum down there, military museum in Cape Coral. I would say if you are a resident of America, I would travel down there and see that museum.
Have you seen our Veterans Memorial Park?
Not yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
You'll be impressed by our park. I hope you get to meet some of the vets if you hang out long enough. What is the trail? What is the Purple Heart Trail? What is that?
The Purple Heart Trail is a series of roads, interstates primarily. Here in Florida, it's Interstate 75. In West Virginia, it's 64. And it essentially sets aside, this trail is dedicated to the recipients of the Purple Heart.
Okay.
And we travel these trails, and it kind of started last year because some of the trails go into some of the old, the old Route 66 type areas, and there's some really cool things across America that people are missing, because we don't take a vacation anymore because you can't afford it. But gas prices are slowly starting to come down. We're starting to get a little bit of a foothold, but we could grab a real big foothold if we can become energy independent. And that family can go and travel those roads and take those old Route 66 trips,
Yeah.
And you're going to 3 other states then after you tour Florida and give out your wonderful message and honoring the wounded veterans. You'll be going to 3 more states.
Yep, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia.
You will be very proud to meet the wounded veterans and the other non-wounded veterans who will show up today at your event. For all of you out there, whether you're a veteran or not, we invite you to show up downtown, not on the square, but over by Circle Square Plaza. It's just so you know, and that the garage is not done yet, but you'll have plenty of room to park.
Yeah. And will you be the guest speaker, Captain McCormick?
Actually, we both will be
Featured
speaking.
speaker? Absolutely.
We'll both be speaking. And it's for me, it's a tremendous honor to sit with him, with Dennis, and I, to be able to have this conversation, to be able to work out a uniform and have an impact. We're still in the game. So for us to be able to work together, him being down here in Florida, me from West Virginia, that's just the beauty of what the military's done, and what Vets for Energy is doing now is it's bringing people together across the country.
Once a soldier, always a soldier.
Yes,
Forever.
sir. Yes, sir. Once you've done something we need to thank you for, we thank you every time we see you.
And our heart is with our beloved America first.
Do you take it to heart when somebody says thank you for your service?
Yes.
Yeah, well, good. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Patrick, are you a vet?
I am not. No.
You're not. Well, neither am I or Robin. But there'll be a whole room full of vets in just a little bit.
But you're still an American, and we thank you.
And a citizen patriot.
I'll never reach the level of honor that you have earned. But the one thing I can do is stand on the sidelines and salute you and support you. And as a radio host, make sure that we get the words out about good things that you're trying to do. So. Well, thank you for coming in here. It's an important message. And did you want to leave with a website or anything?
Yes. If anybody would like to get more information, and I'm a facts guy, I deal with facts, not with, speculations, generalizations. Veterans for Energy, I believe in what they're doing because they're using facts to get it out there. And it's www.vets, VETS, and the number 4 at energy.com. Energy.com.
Okay, without the at, right?
Without the
that would be an
at,
email
yeah,
address.
without
Okay,
the at.
okay, got it. And we'll make sure we put that on the video. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lillian Wu. The French president confirms the crash of an Egypt Air flight from Paris to Cairo carrying 66 people. Officials saying nothing's been ruled out. The Greek defense minister saying the flight made sudden swerves and turns, then lost altitude.
For 3.5 hours, it was in the air going from Paris to Cairo. The plane apparently, according to new reports, was just finishing going through Greek airspace and being talked to by Greek air controllers, and 10 minutes later, there was nothing to be heard from the plane. 10 minutes more, it enters Egypt airspace, and then it drops 37,000 feet. It disappears from the radar screen.
Fox's Greg Palcott. And the French Parliament's lower house just approving a 2-month extension of the state of emergency declared after the November Paris attacks. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Wildfires burn millions of acres each year. And each year, wildland firefighters like Fire Chief James Hall battle to contain them. But they can't do it alone.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. It can ignite and destroy your home, your community, or more. That single ember can be just as dangerous as the wildfire itself. But you can do something firefighters can't. You can act now to prepare your home and your community for wildfire. You can reduce the risk. Do your part. Go to fireadapted.org.
Get fire adapted. Learn what you can do now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. If this had been an actual emergency, such as a hurricane or tornado, official messages would have followed the alert tones. WOCA serves the Marion County area. This concludes the test of the emergency alert system.
Need a mailbox rental but need more information? Remember Personal Service Center, 789-6683. How does $10 a month sound with just a 3-month commitment? Remember Personal Service Center, 789-6683. Mention WOCA and the setup fee is waived. Personal Service Center will email or text notifications to you when your packages arrive. Even scan mail so you never actually have to pick it up. Now that's service. Personal Service Center, 789-6683. Located on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street, Ocala. Look for the yellow signs.
Hello, gorgeous. Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. Let's get rid of those sun damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. It's time to get that new look started. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon, 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. And whether you're going on a job interview or out on a date, your hands do a lot of talking. Manicures are a must. Hello Gorgeous is a full-service salon, so let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala, right next to the historic Marion Theater. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. Hello Gorgeous.
WWOCA, WWWWOCA.
Be sure to tune in to Ocala's longest-running morning radio talk show.
AM Ocala Live from 7 a.m. till noon weekdays.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Visit the WOCA website at www.woca.com.
All right, 5 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. 73 degrees here at the studios of The Source. Looks like a possible day of rain again. Well, I just lost it here. Oh, here it is. A 60% chance of rain. Thunderstorms possibly in the mix. And that's going to be true for tomorrow, for Saturday. And then Sunday, things clear up. So it's going to be half rainy weekend, half sunny weekend. Galen Unold is on the phone from Life South Community Blood Center, and we've invited our guests to stay with us. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Frites is here. Captain James McCormick is here. They will be down at the Ocala Citizen Circle at 10 a.m. this morning, helping to present the Purple Heart honoring veterans, wounded veterans right here in Ocala. So go down there and salute them and help them support what they're trying to do. And that's going to be at 10 o'clock this morning. Galen Unold is on the phone. Galen, of course, himself is a Navy vet. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, good morning, Larry, Robin. How are you guys?
Going. You know what I need to tell you guys? If you put the headsets on, you'll be able to hear everything better. When we have a phone person.
It's your volume control.
Can you hear me, everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Patrick, you want to listen in? Yeah. Okay, good morning, Galen. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot to tell them beforehand that headsets were necessary to hear you. Where are you right now?
Just about to go to Gainesville, just dropping off the boys.
Oh, okay. So we have a fun thing to do, but of course I wanted to talk a little bit since we have these gentlemen in the room today. Tell them what your years when you served.
88 to 92.
88 to 92?
I was on the USS Sterett from 88 to 92.
What was the name of the ship?
The Sterett, USS Sterett.
Sterett.
So.
You guys familiar with that one? No?
There's a lot of. You got to remember, the Navy's by far and away the largest branch of service.
I didn't know. What do I know?
There's more sailors than there are everybody else combined.
Anchors away.
Are there any Marines in the room? I just need to know who I can make fun of.
The jawheads are not here. Hoorah!
Okay, good.
They will be, though. They will be. Yeah.
You can all pick on them.
Give us about a half hour. They'll be here. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
So anyway, in addition to that, Galen helps us, reminds us of the important mission that we all have as people who occupy bodies that have blood in them to donate blood. And also I have a fun thing today, Galen, and maybe you guys will have fun with us with this one too. It's from Boys Life. Do you remember Boys Life magazine?
I was a Life Scout.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
It was gone by the time I think I was growing up.
Well, it's still there. I found it online anyway. But anyway, I hadn't seen it in years, and they have an article here, and I want to go through it with you. Any of you guys baseball fans? Yeah, Patrick is.
Absolutely.
Well,
as long as he's not a Rays or a Yankees fan, we're going to be everything.
Yeah, who's your team? Who's your team?
Red Sox.
Oh.
Oh, you just made a friend.
You're Galen's best friend now.
You just made a friend. Where'd you say you were from? Oh, he's from Connecticut.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense.
Well, no, those are usually Yankee fans up there because they're.
No, I'm telling you,
There's a mix. Depends on where you are in the state.
Yeah.
It depends on how old you are too, right?
Also, yes.
Yeah. If you're my age, you're a Mets fan, right?
Yeah.
Everybody I know is a Mets fan.
Connecticut's a Mets fan. Not Connecticut.
No?
Maybe in the South, but mostly Yankees and Red Sox.
Oh, I meant south of Connecticut is Long Island.
Right.
Yeah. But so anyway, they have this thing on Boys Life. It's called "You Make the Call." It's the baseball umpire quiz.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but it's for Boys Life, so it's going to be hopefully for younger people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how simple it is because I don't have a clue about anything. So first, how is the blood supply, Galen?
We're okay. We have right about a 4-day blood supply. We still need apheresis donors as we come into the Memorial Day weekend. It's next week. School gets out next week. UF is already out, and so we're going to start seeing our blood supply start to dwindle. And so, in order to offset that, we just need more people to give blood. If you've never done it, during the summer is a great time to do it. Just give it a try and roll up your sleeve, give the life to donate blood. It's really, really simple. Most medications are actually acceptable, so just give the gift of life, donate blood.
There you go, and something we try to do, and it's the least we can do. I mean, look at what you guys have done. It's the least we can do is donate blood. So the important message Galen just gave is made possible by two great sponsors, Penn Flooring and Palm Garden. Palm Garden offers long-term skilled nursing care for your respite needs, for your rehab needs, for your skilled nursing needs in general, long-term health care. Go to Palm Garden, not too far here from the Paddock Mall. You'll be able to find them. And Penn Flooring is over at 1201 Southwest 17th Street. Over there, they have a showroom where you can pick out the flooring of your dreams, whether it's a carpet or wood flooring or any of that flooring. Thank those folks for sponsoring this segment as well. Before we do anything, I thought I had a phone call. Okay, never mind. It looked like we had a phone call coming in. They have a letter to talk about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have a letter to talk about?
A letter?
Here.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Besides my many hats, being with Vets for Energy, I'm also the vice president of the National Association Uniformed Services.
Oh, okay.
And I'm the vice president for 7 states. We're a national organization, been around for over 50 years, fighting for our American veterans' hard-earned benefits. Because many people say, oh, you veterans come to lobby. I said, we don't lobby, we advocate for our hard-earned benefits. And there are problems that we have with the American veterans right now. They're taking hits from all sides. Man.
That's right.
There's a lot of good things happening. We don't want to take away from that. But for example, healthcare. Right now, when I went in, they told me and promised me, well, you will have health care for your whole life. Now, for example, the TRICARE plan and other health care, TRICARE for Life, they're trying to up the fees. And right now, the veteran's paying maybe $1,200 because you got to have Social Security plus in order to get Part B, TRICARE for Life, Medicare. And they're up in the fees. And then when you retire, you're paying more. And many people cannot do that. Right. And not only in that program, in other programs. So we in NOS, and we're trying to advocate to our congressional leaders, to our U.S. senators and Congress, to take care of the American veteran. And the other thing is we need to give them a selfless health care system. Because right now, a seamless healthcare system, you have problems when the veteran exits the Department of Defense, goes to VA. Sometimes the records don't come in, and then you have a big backlog in claims. And who's paying the price? The veteran. And then in VA, they tell you got to get your medical records. Why should it be the onus be on the veterans to take their medical records to the VA? It should be the Defense Department providing the records to the VA, and we are all in the same federal. So there are many issues that we're fighting for to ensure our veterans are well taken care of.
And again, let me emphasize that the group who you may meet if you stick around long enough, Vets Helping Vets, who will be in the studio later on, they might walk in while we're doing this segment. They quite often do. They are probably the strongest advocates you're ever going to meet. And I know from them that whatever was wrong with the local system was fixed because they made their voices heard. They did it with the radio show. They did it with letter writing. They did it by just showing up at the different. Hank is very much involved. He was friends with Governor and Senator Graham, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right. And you yourself had
I served on Governor Jeb Bush transition team, and Jeb did a lot to include the $650 million medical center we brought to Central Florida and clinics, and he opened 4 state nursing homes here during his tenure for American veterans.
Very good.
And we got to applaud those people that are doing good for American veterans, and Jeb Bush has done that.
Kaylee, you want to add anything before we go to the break?
I think he said it. I think, this is one of those topics that you look across America, and every American agrees. Every politician says it, that we have to support our veterans. We have to support our veterans.
Right.
And I am always amazed that somehow we don't. And it all comes down to, well, I have to say I support the veterans, but I really don't, because if I did, then I would give them the money out
That's
of
a good point.
Out of cash I have.
Yeah.
And these politicians just refuse to do that. And so I encourage people, I tell them this all the time, if you really care about a politician, look at his voting records and make sure he's in line with the things that you're passionate about. And we always talk, these guys fought for our freedom, they're the reason we're here. And then they turn around and not give us, we look at the fight through the VA. It's ridiculous. And I go to VA centers all over the country, and it's not the people in that building that are the problem. It's the bureaucracy that they're working under.
That is right.
At the VA, it can take up to 9 months to hire someone. Think about that. They can identify a person that they want to hire, and it can take up to 9 months before they're allowed to work there.
Yeah.
That's the bureaucracy that the VA is under, and that's what's got to change.
You guys have the phones ringing. Let me do this. Let me take a break. Let's skip the baseball quiz umpire thing. We'll do that tomorrow. If you all want to call in, you're welcome to do that. And are you guys doing the question and answer thing down on the Circle Square Plaza?
Yes, we'll do.
Okay, so if you don't, if this is a radio show, so we've got the clock. But down there's no clock. It's timeless.
Yeah.
So we'll take a little break. I'll make it as quick as I can. It looks like I've got about a minute and a half that I'm obligated to, and then we'll be right back. Galen Unold is on the phone, and as always, and in the studio, Lieutenant Colonel Dennis Freitas is on the phone. In the studio, Captain James McCormick, Patrick Gillespie. Again, if you're just tuning in, they are honoring wounded vets here in Ocala at Ocala Citizen Circle today at 10 a.m. But they're in the studio today to help raise awareness about why they're here and what they're doing. And they're also supporting Vets for Energy. So we'll be right back. Your phone calls, I've seen them coming in during this last few minutes, and you're definitely welcome to call in, and I'll do that on the other side. We've got 1.5 minutes of commercials, and we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For this Thursday, times of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm in the morning, and a couple of heavier showers and thunderstorms this afternoon and early tonight. The high today 83 to 87. Partly cloudy late Thursday night, lows 69 to 73. For Friday, clouds and some sunshine with a shower and heavy thunderstorm or two in the afternoon, high 86 to 90. Saturday, variable cloudiness with a shower and thunderstorm or two, highs in the 80s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Palm Garden wants to get to the heart of the matter. If you've been in the hospital as a cardiac patient, maybe you have a pacemaker or congestive heart failure or an arrhythmia, or perhaps you're a heart bypass patient, then consider Palm Garden as your rehab choice. With proven outcomes second to none, Palm Garden fixes broken hearts. Call today at 854-6262. That's 854-6262.
The Orlando Fringe returns its 25th anniversary festival, May 18th through the 30th, with nearly 1,000 performances from local, national, and international performing arts companies. There is truly something for everyone at the Orlando Fringe. For tickets and information, visit orlandofringe.org or call 407-648-0077. We hope to see you on the Fringe.
All right.
Orlando Fringe, 25 years bold.
Sorry, Joe. 18 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's return to this. Okay, we're gonna skip the boys' life baseball umpire thing. That was so fun. Looks like a fun thing, Galen. you know me, Galen. I want to do something fun, right? And we have an important message.
But this is one of those topics we need to talk about. I mean, I think I don't think America's gotten upset enough.
Okay, if you guys put your headphones on, I'll let thank you, Patrick. Patrick is going now downtown to help set up, so I think there's. I definitely would invite you to go down there. Let me take some of these phone calls and let you guys chat with our listeners. Good morning. Thank you for calling and for waiting so long. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry, Robin, and gentlemen. It's unbelievable, but it's not one party or the other. The Republicans have had Congress since 2012, the Senate since 2014, and it's deja vu all over again. Consequently, there's an excellent reason why we should be voting for Trump. That's my big thing myself, because I carry a DAB card also. Have a good day.
There you go. Thank you for the call.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Trump is he has no voting record, so we can't.
And he's not a vet.
Again, he talks about how he loves the veterans, and there's just nothing to base that on, either good or bad. So.
As we talk about veterans, I think it's also to talk about the unemployment issues that we have. And one of the things that we're working on with Vets for Energy is we have the military pipeline, which essentially takes your military skills that you learn in the military and it translates it over into jobs in the energy sector. And that can be found on the Vets for Energy website as well. So, because we're talking about national security, but we're also talking about what do we do with all these veterans whenever they come back. Everybody talks about the homeless veterans issue. We talk about the seamless transition issue. We talk about the PTSD issues. It's amazing, how much of that stuff can be corrected when you're gainfully employed and whenever you're working.
Absolutely, yeah. And I can't stress it enough that I think on a local level we have an extraordinary group of guys working on all the very things that you're talking about. And maybe across the country we've got lots of little pockets, but I think the big picture is not following all of that. I think it doesn't start at the top. It starts at the bottom in this case. It starts with grassroots guys like you guys. All right, we do have another phone call. Thank you for calling in, for waiting.
Hey, thanks, Larry and Robin, and thanks to my fellow veterans there in the studio. I'm a former U.S. Marine combat engineer and am in the energy business. I primarily do maintenance at nuclear power plants and have helped build a couple of reactors in Georgia. And I would just share with the veterans in the studio, if they're not aware, right now there are 4 nuclear reactors being built in the United States, 2 in South Carolina and 2 near Augusta, Georgia. I have many veteran friends that are on that project in Georgia, of which I was on. There's about 6,000 workers there, all Americans, all union workers, on a high percentage that are veterans. No, nuclear power is not necessarily a perfect solution, but it's a contributing factor to what the gentlemen in the studio were talking about, domestic energy, which that's electricity, and then they're also talking about oil. I would just share with the one gentleman who sounded like he was a Puerto Rican American that made the comment about this current administration, which
Lieutenant Colonel.
I'm not going to address specifically, but if he would just listen for a second, West Virginia has and Virginia have a mountaintop removal company that's carrying off mountain ranges and shipping the coal, mountaintop coal, to India, and the company is actually Indian, from India. And so the poor people, the poor Americans that live in that area are getting the particulates in their lungs and dying of lung cancer from coal that's from the United States being shipped to India and also China. Also share with that same gentleman and anybody else that doesn't realize 90% of Alaska's oil goes to Japan and about 10% of it goes to Korea. They are allies, I agree. And I am for domestic energy for domestic reasons here in the United States. Also share with that gentleman, Larry, and I'll get out of your hair, is about 90% of the heating oil that goes into Europe comes from Russia. So I'm not saying we should bow down to anybody, but I think we need to watch our Rambo language. And for one final comment about Purple Heart, our freedoms and our freedom of speech and all of our freedoms that we perceive we have in this country were not found in Vietnam, nor shored up there, nor in Iraq. I felt no threat to my freedoms from these superfluous wars. Our freedoms were established in the Revolutionary War when we told England to go back to where she was from. We're going to create a new country. So let's stand up for America, and let's realize that we can provide our own energy. And I support the gentleman in the studio for those very reasons.
There you go. Thank you.
And since my name came up, I would like to say that, I'm with you in protecting our environment. It's not Rambo language, it's reasonable language. I don't speculate. I try to look at facts. And we have the best engineers in the world. We have the best technology. Are we going to let the Russians and Chinese pollute the planet because they're out getting the oil before we get to it? I say it's in the best interest of the national security of the United States to keep our environment safe, keep our environment clean, but be reasonable as to ensuring that America is independent and secure, because it's in the best interest of national security. And that's not Rambo talk, that's reasonable talk.
All right, thank you for that. Gadlin, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think they pretty much covered it. Those are experts in the field, and I'm not.
The event is this morning at 10 a.m. at Ocala Citizen Circle, and they will be honoring. Do you know how many vets you'll be honoring today?
Yeah, we're not real sure. I know that we've had a whole lot of invitations that have went out. We've had some RSVPs come back, so there should be. I mean, it should be a decent sized crowd. Really should. And we'll drive home the same message, you know. And for the last caller, number one, I appreciate his service in the United States Marine Corps, and I hope that he's still listening. I worked with the Marine Corps during Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, so I have a lot of respect for my fellow Marines. And I will say that freedom, you know, while it was established in the First Revolutionary War, we've had to maintain it even today. We have to maintain a strong posture, a strong defensive posture, and be able to have a strong offensive posture to be able to go out and take out our enemies. And this whole energy factor and the domestic energy production, you know, we need to go back and look at 9/11. And the reality is that, you know, how was that funded? We need to look deeply at that. You know, I mean, I've been to the Middle East, like I said, a lot of times. And the industry that they have over there is oil. So that foreign oil being sold, you know, part of that goes into, you know, it can potentially make it into the hands of terrorism, and I believe that it has many times.
And I think that this current story about suing Saudi Arabia for their role in 9/11, and the fact that they're threatening us by pulling away money. I mean, just goes to show you that we are under the gun of people with money, and it supports what you're saying. We need to be doing this all by ourselves. We don't need anybody else. We never really did all along. And I know we're a global community, but if they're going to do that to us, if they're going to support, if those 28 pages somehow show that they were involved, I mean, there's some reason those 28 pages were hidden from us.
No, you're right, you know, and we got to make sure that our allies are also taking the load. And but the main thing is we cannot give platforms of training, platforms of resources. And right now we have ISIS. This is a global war on terrorism, and we have its ugly tentacles throughout the whole world. We got to treat it like World War II generation. We all got to be in this together. The military can't do it by itself. The citizen soldier, the citizens need to support and have the will to win. And we cannot give the enemy those platforms. So we are in a, you know, between the rock and the hard place. We've got to ensure we keep those lines of energy open and secure and ensure that our enemies don't get them. And this is not Rambo talk. This is reasonable talk.
Well, Rambo talk was when those pilots were in those two planes and they hit those two towers. That was Rambo talk.
And somebody funded that.
Somebody funded that. And you know what they never did? They never called up to say, is Larry in that building?
Right.
Because if he is, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere else. They didn't care if I was there, if you were there. They didn't care who was there.
Kids.
They didn't care if it was civilians or military. In fact, they knew it wasn't military.
Well, and the fact that people need to understand, the reality is that our back is really against the wall when it comes to terrorism. We have a big problem with international terrorism, and international terrorism that is funded by the sale of foreign energy resources, and that is just the fact. No one can debate that. When I was in Iraq, Fallujah, Baghdad, Ramadi, no matter where I was at in whatever town or whatever operation we was in, I can assure you my freedom felt threatened. And the ability to know that we were in a position that we could potentially stop a future terrorist, you know, from being able to infiltrate back into the United States.
Right.
You know,
we've got a minute and a half. We have one more call coming in. We'll take that call. Good morning. You're on the air. You have to be kind of quick, though.
Good morning. One point I'd like to bring up is the fact that our Army is the numbers of our Army today are lower than they were before World War II. We see and hear the Marine Corps stripping down or vandalizing or pirating parts off planes to keep a certain number of planes in the air. You know, not for nothing, but who's had the White House now for 7 years? Think about it, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Sonny. All right, we have to say goodbye. You're definitely welcome. The next segment is purely news, so you're welcome to sit out in the room over there, have some coffee, and then wait. The veterans should be here real soon. They usually show up in a little bit. Galen, where's the Bloodmobile today?
Bloodmobile today is out at the Lowe's on Southwest 90, way out there. So Yeah, and I just want to thank you guys for what you're doing and being an advocate for veterans. And good luck. If there's anything we can ever help you with, just let us know.
Thank you.
And one more thing, Larry, we're looking for volunteers to help the golf tournament tomorrow that we're having out at Adena. So if you want to volunteer with us, give me a call, 622-3544. Just let them know you want to volunteer at the golf tournament.
Wow. An opportunity to see Adena. Adena's a beautiful golf course.
There you go. That's right. Yeah.
With a beautiful lady running it, too. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she runs it.
Amazing. Stacy's a knockout.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right, and thank you, guys. We'll be right back.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lillian Wu. The French president confirms the crash of an Egypt Air flight from Paris to Cairo carrying 66 people. Officials saying nothing's been ruled out. The Greek defense minister saying the flight made